We've all seen the commercials with the skinny, pathetic, dirty-looking animals in cages while the sad, weepy, melodramatic music plays in the background. Sarah McLachlan, or some other lower-level celebrity, comes out and implores you to save these animals and send in your monetary donations. Sure, these animals look sad, but they're not in your neighborhood. They're not in your backyard. Except if you've ever been to the city of Houston, the Pound, the Bureau of Animal Regulation and Care, or BARC, as we lovingly call it in Houston, you would see that these deplorable conditions do in fact exist. This is what the animals from the streets of Houston look like. Animals are like children, except they never grow up to become self-reliant. They will always require a human to love them, feed them, and care for them. When these humans do not exist, these animals end up in our local shelters, and at best, they can hope to be boarded and housed until they're healthy enough to be adopted, or at worst, and more likely, they will be put on the length of stay list once they have to make room for more animals, and they will be euthanized. Animal homelessness affects every neighborhood in the U.S., but especially Houston, and the local shelters cannot sustain the amount of animals that are turned in on a daily basis. While there are many ways to combat this problem, I would like to talk today about one of the most creative ways that the citizens of Houston have come up with, an organization called Rescued Pets Movement, RPM for short, and they're in the business of finding forever homes. Rescued Pets Movement takes animals out of these shelters through committed rescue, transports them to different areas of the country that have a need and a want for these adoptable, healthy pets, and all they need from us is fosters like you and me to help them in their mission and realize the goal of saving them all. In a recent study conducted of Houston area households by the University of Texas School of Public Health, it was determined that stray dogs and cats was the most frequently reported neighborhood problem, beating out crime, the quality of their drinking water, and dumping, just to name a few. We have a significant stray animal problem, and the shelters are not equipped to deal with so many animals. When the local shelters were built, they were meant to house an annual maximum of 12,000 pets. The Houston Chronicle reported on June 15th that these shelters are actually taking in excess of 25,000 animals per year, which is more than double, and they've been doing that for the past decade. When these local shelters get so full, these animals get euthanized. In order to know how to reduce the problem of overcrowding in our shelters, we must understand why there are so many homeless animals in Houston. HoustonTexas.gov says that one of the reasons for the animal population in Houston to be the way that it is because we have a year-round breeding season due to our climate that steadily increases the area's animal population. As the animal population increases, and as we know, the human population increases because of all of the people moving to Texas, they bring their families and they may bring a family pet. While Houston has no mandatory spay-neuter laws, sometimes these animal families grow. Not everybody wants those additional animals in their households, so these unwanted animals are turned in staggering numbers to the local shelters. We have too many owner surrender or animal welfare practice cases turned into these local agencies. The city of Houston reported in May of 2017 that more than 85 animals were turned in per day. One of the ways that we can reduce this problem is to use organizations like RPM, because not every place has the same climate conditions that we have in Houston, so they don't have the year-round breeding. When we take these animals out of Houston and send them to other areas of the country that have a high demand for adoptable pets, we're actually helping both cities. Rescued Pets Movement is one of these organizations that takes the animals from the local rescues and moves them to other parts of the country. They work to commit rescue and then secure a foster home, but they need fosters in order to be able to do this. If you become a short-term foster, You typically keep an animal from anywhere from 1 day to 2 weeks. The American Bar Association recently published in their American Law Committee newsletter that the home fostering of dogs and cats from animal shelters, rescues, and even some animal control agencies has become a national phenomenon. RPM then takes these animals and transports them weekly into their forever homes. So, one of the ways that we can reduce the overcrowding in our local shelters is to use organizations like Rescued Pets Movement to take the animals, secure foster homes or rescue, and then transport them up to these other areas of the country. This is a problem and a fight that we can win. We are saving these animals one at a time through these different outreach programs and committing rescue in other parts of the country. So the next time that you see these commercials and you think, should it affect me? Is there something I can do to help? Know that it is working and we are doing something about it. And you can do something about it too, but you don't necessarily have to open up your wallet, just your home and your heart.